That so-called gangster life has now cost him everything. On August 17th, 6ix9ine's girlfriend, Ariella Lang Costa, was found murdered, and now in court, word is he's finally admitting to his role in her death. Even worse, this isn't the first time. A disturbing pattern from his dark history with women is starting to emerge. Let me break it down. When the streets caught up. That morning, around 8:00 a.m., Ariella was discovered deceased behind the wheel of her whip, a luxury SUV sitting on the eastbound shoulder of the Cross-County Parkway in Mount Vernon, about 20 miles north of the city. She was rolling solo in the ride, which became mad important when the detectives started piecing together her last movements. When the coroner did their thing, they found out what everybody in the hood already suspected. The autopsy showed multiple gunshot wounds as the cause of death, and the Westchester County Police Department straight up said this was a hit targeted violence, not some random street. What makes this whole thing even more wild is when you peep Ariella's social media right before she got clapped. Her last post on the gram was from June 7th, 2025, showing her living it up with the caption, "Happy and blessed." Even crazier, the night before she got murked, she was posting stories from Icon, New York, where she worked, partying and doing her thing. Word on the street is she was probably heading home from her late shift when some fool decided to take her out the game permanently. But yo, let's keep it 100 about who Ariella really was beyond just being connected to that clown 6ix9ine. Was a major player in NYC's nightlife scene with over 551,000 followers on IG. She was grinding as a bartender and hostess at Icon, New York. Some cats called it Opus Lounge, where everybody said she was the realest, known for being mad, cool, energetic, and beautiful. Ma was originally from DR, had 2 daughters, and was staying between Westchester and Rockland counties. Her whole wave was modeling, dancing, and doing entertainment collabs, making her mad loved in New York's nightlife scene. Now, when we talk about 6ix9ine's persona and how he portrayed himself on the streets, we got to understand this cat's whole mentality. When he went on The Breakfast Club, homie was really trying to sell himself as this hard street dude. Don't cause no problem, man. You know what I'm saying? I address him. That's me. I'm the hottest artist in the city, and I'm coming on here now. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you're not the hottest in the city, though. Hottest in the city. This cat was really out here talking crazy on radio, claiming he was the king of New York and all that. Listen to me. Listen to me. My thing is, right? Look, this is the way I look at it, right? I look at it. If I could walk around, say I'm the king of New York, right? Don't you think somebody would have done something by now? Give it some time. Give it some time. Yeah. How much time? I don't know. But I don't think that you should is a lifetime. I don't think you should be bringing that kind of energy on yourself. But the real street knew what time it was with him. I don't think you should be bringing that kind of energy on yourself. But listen, I'm gangster. I know I'm gangster. I know I tell everybody all the time, test my gangster. Right? Oh, God. Not listen to me. I tell everybody, test my gangster. A lot of people don't like me, but you know what I'm saying? I'm not here to fit in. My message is to be yourself. And I'm always myself. I always push that message. To be yourself. And embrace yourself, who you are. The sauce was really trying to act hard about his gang affiliations, too. When they questioned him about being both and blood, he tried to play it off like he was just cool with everybody. He kept trying to justify his fake flagging by claiming he was never really put on by nobody. The connection between Ariella and that rat 6ix9ine went way deeper than most heads realized. She had appeared in his 2023 music video for WP and was performing with him at spots like New York's Tobago Room. But their relationship stayed mostly on the low, away from all the drama that follows that snitch everywhere he goes. When news broke about Ariella getting bodied, 6ix9ine's reaction was immediate and seemed mad emotional. Dude hopped on his IG stories, posting pics and videos of her with captions like, "There is no heart more beautiful. Rest in peace, Ariella Langosta," and calling her a tremendous woman and the Queen of New York. He was going hard with the grief post, saying like, "Nee won't ever be the same and I loved you." These weren't just some casual industry condolences or fake love for the gram. Nah, these were the words of a G who just lost somebody real important to him. The raw emotion in his post painted a picture of real love and devastating loss that cut through all the usual clout-chasing and controversy that surrounds his whole persona. But when you know the real history of how this cat moves, you start to see patterns. Remember, this is the same who tried to play tough on the Breakfast Club when they asked him about his legal troubles. When they pressed him about his case, he tried to spin it like he was just a young cat who got caught up. Say 2 years ago. What is 3 years ago, right? Say 3 years ago. I'm 21 now. Say 3 years ago, right? I come out, I like, what I'm saying. I had an underage girl in a video, right? And it happens. You know what I'm saying? Girls lie about ages. Everyone knows this, right? A lot of people get caught up in this, right? Yeah. Now, I come out with this. I get in trouble for this crime, right? I'm totally emotional for the situation and it happens, right? As soon as the investigation started heating up, questions immediately started flying about whether Ariella's murder was connected to 6ix9ine's notorious street rep. Speculation online started linking her death to 6ix9ine's controversial past, especially his 2019 testimony against the 9 Trey gangster bloods in that federal RICO case, which got him out early in 2020 because of Cohen Yo. That speculation wasn't coming out of nowhere when 6ix9ine decided to cooperate with the feds and snitch on his own people that earned him the rat label in the streets. A title that basically put a permanent target on his back. In the hood, snitches get stitches. And everybody knew homie was walking around with a bounty on his head. Some unverified word from the street suggested she got clapped while coming home from work, possibly in the whip with 6ix9ine, and that he might have been the real target because of all that gang beef still brewing. But real talk, the authorities haven't confirmed none of that street talk. And the investigation was still active with no arrest when this story was unfolding. They did make it clear that her death wasn't connected to some other shooting that same day in NYC that left 3 other people dead. The impact of Ariella getting murked went way beyond just her immediate circle. The whole social media was flooded with tributes, and Icon New York shut down temporarily to honor her, posting New York City nightlife has lost an angel. They set up a memorial outside the lounge where heads came through describing her as this beautiful, kind Dominican mother who didn't deserve none of this. The rat's true colors come out. As the detectives kept digging deeper into Ariella Langa's murder, some real disturbing patterns started emerging that would completely flip everything the public thought they knew about this case. To understand how we got to this point, we got to examine the complex and troubled history of Daniel Hernandez, that rainbow-haired rat known as Tekashi 6ix9ine. This ain't just a story about one tragic night in the streets, but the culmination of years of escalating violence, legal drama, and a pattern of behavior that investigators would later describe as deeply disturbing. 6ix9ine's history with putting hands on women goes back years, with multiple allegations of physical abuse from his former shorties. The most prominent of these came from Sarah Molina, his baby mama, and the mother of his daughters, who detailed some horrific abuse spanning from 2011 to 2018. Let's start from the very beginning. Daniel met in 2011, 2012. Okay? And how did you guys initially meet? Sarah's testimony about their relationship painted a picture of escalating violence that was both systematic and brutal as hell. She alleged a 7-year pattern of physical abuse, including punching, kicking, choking, and trying to suffocate her. Specific incidents included April 2018, beat her in a car in front of their daughter. August 2018, dragged her by her hair, slapped her up, left her with a black eye. October 2018 in Dubai, 2-hour beating session. Punched her so hard in the ear she thought she was deaf. Choked her out. Put a pillow over her face. Left bruises all over her arms and back. You planned pregnancy or no? No. I didn't want to be with him. He knew that he says it like anybody who knows this person will be like, oh, I trapped her. What makes Sarah's story even moored up is how she described the mental manipulation that went with the physical abuse. She detailed how 6ix9ine would deliberately get her pregnant to keep control over her and how the beatings got worse as his rap career started blowing up. When Sarah talked about how the relationship really started, it becomes clear how young and vulnerable she was when he started his manipulation tactics. And were you with him when, was it his father or stepfather that got murdered? It was his stepfather. I wasn't with him. It was like probably 2 years before I met him that happened. Okay, happened. Okay, so you guys move in together. And are you pregnant at this point or no? No, I didn't get pregnant till like a year later. Sarah also explained how 6ix9ine was already showing signs of his controversial behavior early in his career, doing wild for attention. So you guys are living together, and is he a rapper at this point or no? He was pursuing more clothing, but he was dipping and diving into rap. Okay. But the Tekashi 6ix9ine name wasn't around. Oh yes, it was. It wasn't as big. Everybody knew him from the deli because he was the kid with the outrageous clothing. The offensive clothing because he was big into clothing. He had these crazy shirts that said HIV on them. Like that's how he was getting attention through his style and his clothing. When Sarah talked about 6ix9ine's bizarre behavior and how he would dress up in dresses and skirts, it shows how this cat was always doing anything for attention, even if it was degrading. 'Cause I remember I met someone who lived in that area and said that he remembers him from the deli. He would be wearing like dresses and like really crazy stuff, like on some super young thug, like dresses, skirts, all of that. Okay. So, how are you being his girlfriend, taking him wearing dresses? I was young and he was my first boyfriend. Like he was my first boyfriend, first everything, so I'm like, I love him no matter what. So if he likes her, I love it, like I was very supportive. But the violence didn't stop with Sarah. In January 2024, 6ix9ine got locked up in the Dominican Republic for putting his hands on his then-girlfriend, Yalin Lamas Varal. The arrest came after her moms reported the incident involving allegations of him beating on her. He got released on bond January 25, 2024, after Yalin refused to cooperate and wrote a letter saying it was all lies. When 6ix9ine was interviewed about his situation with authorities, he tried to downplay everything. From his Spanish language interview, we can see him trying to control the narrative. He kept trying to present himself as this mature person who had learned from his mistakes, but his actions told a different story. I say burn a hand on the stove. When pressed about his relationship with Yalin and whether he would get back with her, you could see him trying to deflect and control the conversation. No. But the story didn't end there, fam. In September 2024, Yalin came for his neck with a lawsuit for revenge porn, alleging he drugged her, abused her physically and sexually, and stole her money. The pattern was clear as day, a history of putting hands on women followed by trying to silence victims through intimidation, legal games, or public manipulation. This context becomes crucial when you examine what investigators discovered about Ariella's final days. When Sarah described one of the most traumatic incidents she experienced, it shows just how dangerous this cat really was. Came back around like maybe 3 hours in the morning. I was up, my daughter was sleeping, his mom was in the house, and he was releasing, Fifi the next day. He was on the laptop with the driver in the house, and he was like, I need to leave. I'm going to try Drew's house so he can color correct the video for me. And so I'm like, all right, that's nothing out of the ordinary. He'll break night editing a video, just so he can push it the next day. So I'm like, at this point, I'm mad at him, so I'm not he was in LA with some other girl. So I'm like not really paying him mind. I'm like, whatever, leave. I don't care. But then the situation turned dangerous real quick. And no more than like 20 minutes later, I get a call from him. I'm like, I was about to head in the shower, and he's like, "Oh, Sarah, where's the baby?" And I found that very odd. Like, what do you mean? Where's the baby? She's home. She's sleeping. You were just here. Like, you know that. So that immediately was like, what? Why are you asking about the baby? He was like, don't say nothing. Don't just do everything I tell you to do. So I'm like, what's going on? He was like, I want you to take the jewelry, that I have downstairs on the table and wrap it the way I wrap it and put it in the bag and bring it down to me. This incident shows how he would put his family in danger and use them as pawns in his street drama. The fact that he involved Sarah and put her at risk while she was with their baby. Daughter speaks to his character. Sarah described how terrified she was during that whole kidnapping situation. Car pulls up to in front of our building that I don't recognize is not the driver's car. So, I'm just looking, and a dude with a hoodie on comes running up the steps and is in front of me. So I'm just like looking in the car, and I back up behind the door, and I'm just looking at this dude like, who the said the boss, and are you? As the investigation into Ariella's murder kept heating up, the Westchester County Police Department, working with local, state, and federal agencies, started uncovering evidence that painted a completely different picture than what was initially presented to the public. The investigation revealed that Ariella's death was likely targeted for violence, and her death was not a random act. The real tea about this whole situation. 6ix9ine's documented history includes admissions that are genuinely shocking and concerning. In his 2015 case involving a 13-year-old girl, he pleaded guilty to use of a child in a sexual performance. In 2020, he got sued by the victim for child sexual assault, child sexual abuse, and infliction of emotional distress. His testimony during his federal RICO trial revealed extensive involvement with violent gang activities. I grew up in Bushwick, brother. How many fights you had behind this sao, behind how many fights you had behind that flag? I got hundreds of them. My first 40 fights was Rack Pack. When Whack 100 pressed him about his gang credibility, 6ix9ine admitted he wasn't really put on properly. How many Ambe the Rack Racketeer? None. 'Cause I wasn't in a blood. What you mean? I wasn't a blood. Like, I wasn't a blood. But when Whack 100 kept pressing him about his street credentials, 6ix9ine got defensive and tried to claim he was more real than the actual gang members. When they got into the details about what it really means to be put on in the streets, you could see 6ix9ine getting exposed for the fraud he really was. What we have just established is, you was never ever okay put on and initiated properly to that neighborhood. Okay? So I was never blood. You was associated. Oh man. Okay. So, tell the feds that his cooperation with federal prosecutors in 2019 led to convictions of gang members and earned him the snitch label in the streets. Over 3 days, 6ix9ine detailed gang operations, identified members, including accusing Cardi B and Jim Jones of Blood's affiliation, and admitted to ordering hits. Listen, I gotta bring it up. I'm sorry if I'm about to fire haul him up. My girl's baby father, Charlie C., is a mad bowl of blood. The dude even admitted to being kidnapped by his own crew, as he explained. When confronted about his street credibility and why he didn't handle his own business when he got robbed, 6ix9ine got defensive. But when the streets came for him about not being able to back up his tough talk, 6ix9ine tried to use examples of other rappers getting killed to justify his lack of action. You never lacking, right? Never. So what happened to that lack? Let's bring up Nipe Hustle. You think he said, yo, would never come up to me 'cause I'm yo, bro. It happened to the best of them. Huh? What? What's the difference between you and Nipe? Once we would have had that argument, I'd have backed my gun. You not leaving and coming back. That's the difference. He kept trying to justify his lack of street action by comparing himself to dead rappers. If you was lacking, he said, I'm never lacking. All right, cool. He going to bring it to gangster rap. So what you going to do when you lacking? So Nipe a stand to, I believe I don't know him, so I can't say, all right, So the best get killed, so I can't take nothing away from him because he got murdered. So the best happening when he brought up other rappers who got killed trying to make it seem like it's normal for street. To get caught slipping, was King Von a stand-up tour? King Von was a get busy. All right. So why was he lacking? Why was he lacking? You know what? Why was he lacking? It doesn't matter, you missing. I don't understand. So what is King? Right now, he's, hey, but what's the point though? All right then. So King Von is a solid and he got killed, right? Then poked out and put 5 in him, right? And he dead, right? So King Von died lacking. You hurt my feelings. No. No. Hear what I'm saying. King B died lacking. But when people called out his contradictions and how he was basically admitting to not being built for the streets, he got mad defensive. When my son said be like, yo, bro, I'm jacking my son. My son come to the hood. No funny, bro. I respect my son Ganga. I respect my son Ganga. I respect gangsters, bro. What you gonna see me? You going to respect me. Hold on. Let me break something down so you right. Hold on. I don't even mean to change a mood, but 6ix9ine, we all know about a perception. This cat really had the nerve to bring up stories about snitches in Harlem to try to justify his own snitching. Listen, I got to talk about it. I got to bring it up. I'm sorry if I but I'm about to fire haul him up. My girl's baby father, Charlie C. Issa, Mag Ball of Blood. Okay. What that mean? He's a mag ball of blood that Jack kill all rats. The mag ball of Jack kill all rats. What that mean? Let me talk about it. Had a baby shower. Okay? Had a baby shower last August.